What drives a person to destroy something cherished by others, knowing the cost could ruin them? In the quiet suburb of Willow Creek, where manicured lawns and pristine community spaces define the neighborhood's pride, Karen Delaney's actions sent shockwaves through the tight-knit homeowners association. Her story is one of defiance, desperation, and a haunting reckoning that no one saw coming. Karen, a 42-year-old graphic designer, had lived in Willow Creek for a decade. Once a vibrant artist known for her murals in local cafes, she'd grown bitter over the years. The HOA's rigid rules stifled her creativity. Every request to paint her mailbox or plant wildflowers was denied with a curt letter citing community standards. Her neighbors, she felt, were drones, obsessed with conformity over expression. The tennis court, a gleaming symbol of the HOA's control, became her target. It was a humid July night when Karen, armed with spray cans and a heart full of resentment, crept onto the court. She worked in a frenzy, her hands trembling as she painted jagged flowers. Karen flowers, she called them, after the wild, resilient blooms she'd loved as a child. Petals in neon pink and violet sprawled across the court, their chaotic beauty a middle finger to the HOA's sterile perfection. By dawn, the court was a masterpiece of rebellion, and Karen slipped back home, adrenaline coursing through her veins. The next morning, Willow Creek erupted. Neighbors gathered, gasping at the vandalism. The HOA president, Margaret Hensley, a woman with a clipboard and a vendetta, declared it an assault on our values. Karen watched from her window, a smirk tugging at her lips as Margaret's voice cracked with outrage. She knew they'd trace it to her. Her style was unmistakable, but she didn't care. This was her stand, her way of screaming, "I'm still here." The backlash was swift. By noon, HOA board members were at her door, demanding answers. Karen admitted everything, her chin high, daring them to act. They did. The HOA filed a civil suit, claiming the graffiti caused $160,000 in damages, resurfacing costs, legal fees, and emotional distress to the community. Karen laughed at the figure, but the summons was real. The court date loomed, and whispers of her defiance spread like wildfire. Enter Lucas Tran, a 17-year-old neighbor who'd always admired Karen's art. He was the twist no one expected. Shy, with a sketchbook always tucked under his arm, Lucas had watched Karen's spirit dim under the HOA's rules. He'd seen her murals in town, vibrant and alive, and the tennis court felt like her soul breaking free. Against his parents' warnings, Lucas approached Karen, offering to testify on her behalf. "It's art, not a crime," he said, his voice shaking but resolute. Karen, touched by his courage, agreed, though she doubted it would change anything. The trial was a spectacle. Margaret painted Karen as a reckless anarchist, showing photos of the defaced court to a stone-faced judge. Karen's lawyer, a tired public defender named Clara Ruiz, argued it was an act of expression, not malice. Lucas took the stand, his voice steady now, describing how Karen's art inspired him to keep drawing despite his own doubts. "She made something beautiful," he said, "and they're punishing her for it." The courtroom stirred, and for a moment, Karen felt a flicker of hope. But hope is a fragile thing in Willow Creek. The judge, unmoved by Lucas's plea, sided with the HOA. The evidence was clear. Karen had knowingly vandalized community property. The fine $160,000 hit like a sledgehammer. Karen had no savings, no way to pay. Her house, her only asset, would be sold to cover the debt. The courtroom fell silent as she stood, her defiance crumbling into a hollow stare. Lucas reached for her hand, but she pulled away, unable to meet his eyes. Back home, Karen's world unraveled. Neighbors shunned her, their whispers cutting deeper than the fine. She packed her belongings, each item a reminder of the life she was losing. Lucas stopped by, his sketchbook now filled with drawings of Karen flowers. "You changed me," he said, tears in his eyes. "You showed me it's okay to be different." Karen wanted to believe him, but the weight of her choices crushed her. She gave him a small canvas painting of a single Karen flower and told him to keep creating, no matter what. Then came the final twist, the one that broke her. A week before she was to leave, Karen received a letter from an anonymous donor offering to pay half her fine. The catch? She had to publicly apologize and promise never to create art in Willow Creek again. The letter was typed, but the tone screamed Margaret. Karen sat with it for hours, the canvas of her life reduced to a single choice: surrender her spirit or lose everything. She chose the latter. On moving day, Karen stood on her porch, watching the moving truck pull away. The tennis court had been resurfaced, its neon flowers buried under a fresh coat of green. Lucas stood across the street, sketching her silhouette against the sunset. She wanted to wave, to thank him for seeing her, but her hands stayed still. The neighborhood was quiet, the HOA's victory complete. Karen drove away, her car packed with what little remained. The Karen flowers in her mind wilted, their colors fading to gray. She'd fought for her voice, but the cost was everything: her home, her art, her place in the world. Lucas's sketches would carry her spirit, but she'd never know it. The road stretched ahead, empty and unforgiving, as she headed toward a future she couldn't yet see. ND.